how far is that trip from Adelaide to Tarcoola?
I knew you were going to start talking about mileages. Well, it's a very long way. I'm not exactly sure of the mileage now. I have to admit, after 5 years, I tend to discard some of that information. But it was a 12-hour job to get there, so it was a fair way.
Oh, right. Okay. And for those people who sort of, not really quite sure how it operates, when you say relay train, you guys would work a certain amount of hours and then you had a sleeping van behind the locomotives. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. On the GAN, I mean, they do it different on the freight trains because they have their own wagon, but their own van. On the GAN, they actually provided the sleeping car. We were sleeping in the same wagon as some of the on-train staff. Oh. So it was a regular looking GAN carriage with sleeping compartments in it. And yeah, you work 8 hours on, 8 hours off. That's basically how it works.
Yeah. And the GAN, for those people from overseas again, that runs from Adelaide right up to Darwin, doesn't it? Right through the middle.
It does now, yes. Yes, it does. Yeah. Quite correct, yes.
And it's a beautiful train to travel on, isn't it? Like, it's just an amazing sight. My son, young Caden in Melbourne, who's a train fan, it's one of his big dreams to, take that trip. And I hope we can do that when this COVID stuff is all, dies down a bit. I've got to tell you, Trev, they're never far away, mate. I don't know if you can see that like that. Oh, there it is. They're never far away.
No. All my models are out in the shed at the moment, so they're not for looking at it.
They're always. That's my young son when he was living in Los Angeles with us. I've got all these trains outside on a little table so that when I'm sitting there, always keep an eye on them, and it reminds me of home and what he's up to. And I've got to thank Doug too, because Doug's helped him build his train channel. It's called Trains in Melbourne, I think, isn't it, Doug?
Trains Direct Victoria is YouTube, and Instagram is Trains in Melbourne.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And this is a funny story, Trev. When I used to take him out, we lived at Craigieburn, they still do, and we'd go up and watch a lot of the Seymour and Albury trains, which brought back memories for me, because in Dynon, when I was a trainee engineman there, we spent a lot of time on the shunt engines, which they called pilot engines there. And you work your way up, and I finally got on the goods roster, and it was just an exciting run to go from Melbourne to Wodonga and, stay in the barracks up there. Yep. I love fast running trains. Like, it's just something in me. Like, I love going through the Adelaide Hills, but I always like something where you get on the flat and open it up and away you go.
Well, that's probably one of the good things about working now is a lot of the trains, like the slowest trains we have now are 80 kilometres per hour or 50 miles an hour. And most of the other trains are either 110 or 115 kilometres an hour, which is like just below 70 and just above 70 mile an hour. So they're pretty good.
And that is good. And because you're hauling pretty big trains too, aren't you? Like with the freights, like they're way bigger than they used to be, of course.
They are. Well, the trains now going, which you probably find interesting, going through the Adelaide Hills and also going north now have a maximum length of 1,800 metres. So that's over a mile long. So they're pretty big.
Wow, that's a big train. And how much horsepower have you got on there? How many locos?
Well, it varies. Our new NR class are -9 GEs. Well, I say they're new. They're actually over 20 years old now. They're actually getting on a bit. But they're 4,000 horsepower, so they usually have 2 or 3 on the front. Right.
Now, this came up for me last night. I don't even know why, but I was thinking, if you have to stop somewhere up there through, some steep grade, they got plenty of pulling power no matter where you stop with such a length of train and weight. Like, they can lift that train pretty easily, yeah?
Generally speaking. One of the problems with our locos as opposed to the US locos is they're a lot lighter. Like a US -9 loco probably weighs in the vicinity of 180 tons or something like that. Wow. Whereas our NRs are 132 tons, so they're considerably lighter.
Yeah.
So even though we have the power, traction can be an issue at times, and lifting loads on the grades like the Adelaide Hills 1 in 45. You can have sometimes they'll go straight away, no problem. Other times you'll have a bit of issue getting them going, but That's just how it is.
Bit of slipping and a bit of sand.
Yeah. I mean, they have all this all computerized control now, so it's a little bit different, but yeah, they'll either go or they won't. That's usually the way it works.
Yeah, right.